tax advice, wealth management advice. They can help you at Warren Wealth Management. Marcus Warren is always a great resource. And today I'm telling you this, and this is just happens to be very true, and it also is very appropriate. This man knows how to roll. He is Marcus Warren. Okay, today, speaking of roll, I'm trying my best to work this like dad joke here.
Okay.
We're going to talk rollovers, right?
Yeah, we are. You know, but I heard you talking earlier. It's is it National Chicken and Waffles Day?
National Chicken and Waffles Day.
Okay.
So the fact that you brought that up tells me you feel strongly one way or the other. Are you a fan or no?
I am a connoisseur of chicken and waffles. I have been to actually 2 or 3 weeks ago I was in Los Angeles and I went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, which is a fantastic establishment out there. They used to have a spot in Las Vegas called Serendipity 3 that served the best chicken and waffles, and it was right in front of Caesars, but it's no longer there anymore. In Oakland and Jack London Square, there's a place that's called Home of Chicken and Waffles, which is fantastic. And even here locally, Silver Dollar.
Silver Dollar you recommend? Okay.
Yes, fantastic chicken and waffles. And I like real chicken and waffles where the chicken has a bone in it,
right,
not when it's a chicken strip. That's not
real.
Yeah, it's not real.
Ooh,
No.
So see, you didn't know that.
There you go.
We knew he knew his taxes. We knew he knew wealth management. Now, also a connoisseur of chicken and waffles.
Good stuff.
So if you want to chat a little bit, we'll talk chicken and waffles. Okay. 401k rollovers. So there's a lot of options here. You can keep them with your old company. Maybe you're going with a new company. Perhaps you want to get an IRA. Maybe you want to cash out. Let's talk about what's right. I guess there's not one definitive answer, is there, Marcus?
No, you know, really, there's 4 different things that can happen whenever you leave a company and you have, you know, these old 401ks. There is a most popular option, and I'll talk about that. But the first thing that you can do is you can just leave it at the old employer. Now, I'm not sure why anyone would want to do that. You're no longer with the company. You know, plus you don't have control of it. The company can change plan administrators. There are fees that are involved. And then you're also limited to those investment choices. The 401ks generally have 10 to 15 different options, and you're always constrained to those options. And so leaving it with your old 401k or your old company, it's probably not the best idea, although a lot of people do, believe it or not. And then, of course, if you get another job, you can transfer that 401k to your new employer, and that's always an option, but you still run into the same issues that you had with the old 401k, where you have limited investment choices. There could be high fees, especially if there are these target date funds, which a lot of people are investing in, where they'll say, okay, you're going to retire in 20 years. So it'll be a 2041 fund that a lot of companies have, and sometimes internally they can have a lot of high fees, so you have to understand how those things work. You know, of course, the control, you still really don't have control, so even your current company can change the plan administrator, change the investment options, things of that nature. And so, you know, that is something that most people do, but you know, there are some other options.
Okay.
I will tell you this though, the option that you don't want to do is the next option we're going to talk about, and that is just cashing it out, taking it all, and doing whatever you do with it.
You've educated me, so my guess is this is because Uncle Sam's going to come in, and not only is he going to have a hand out, he's going to have both hands out. Is that right?
Yes. I mean, there can be some huge consequences for taking all of your 401k and just cashing it out. Number one, just taxes and penalties alone, right? If you're under 59.5, think about this. So say you had $100,000 in your 401k and you decided to cash it out and you're under 59.5. Between taxes and penalties, and this is if you're in the 30 or so % tax bracket, federal and state, you can be looking to pay upwards of $41,000 in taxes and penalties by cashing that $100,000 401k out.
That gets my attention.
That's probably not the best option. You know, obviously there may be some critical circumstances where you have to, but generally speaking, you don't want to cash your 401k out.
Okay,
right?
I like the advice. Now, there's the IRA option. So
that's the most popular, and that's because most financial experts basically say, hey, what you should do when you leave a company is you should roll it over into a self-directed IRA, and people do this for a number of different reasons. Number one, I would say it's about control, because now you have control over what investments you want to make. So instead of being constrained to those 10 to 15 investment options that an old 401k has, now you have what I call the investment universe to invest in. So if you want to invest in individual stocks, bonds, Bitcoin, anything like that, you can. And so you have that control and you have those options. Then you can also manage fees a little bit better. Now you can get with a good custodian who offers low fees. When you have an IRA, you have the option if you want to work with a good financial advisor, financial planner. So those are options also. So there's a lot of different things that you can do when you roll over that 401k into that self-directed or that traditional IRA, where you just have a lot more choices moving forward.
Okay, for folks, as I've said before, whether the topic happens to be taxes, IRAs, rollovers, maybe you're worried about health insurance and that kind of thing for your retirement, Warren Wealth Management is the answer. And if they'd like a little bit of one-on-one time, a 15-minute phone call, you're more than willing to take that call, maybe answer some questions, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Especially if you have an old 401k that you left at a previous employer. We do offer a 15-minute phone call where we can find out your specific situation, see if we can help you out, see if we're a good fit, and then hopefully push you towards your goals. So absolutely.
All right. Once again, Marcus Warren here, Warren Wealth Management. And Marcus, you're a Renaissance man. You've got a lot going on. So let's talk about your podcast. I know that's been very popular for people who want to listen. You said just about any podcast format, Apple, any of the others?
Yep, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and really, during the podcast, what we try to do is we try to educate people who are close to retirement, in retirement. We try to educate them on all the things that can happen once you make that transition from working to being retired, and we try to do it in a way that is entertaining and a little off the beaten track. We don't consider it one of those stodgy, financial advisory programs.
That's not you, man.
No, not at all. We want to make it fun. We want to make it light. And more importantly, we want to make it simple and understandable to whoever's listening.
Yeah, lots of good information, again, with Marcus Warren. And Marcus, what keeps you passionate right now? I'm curious about this current market. We were just talking to Dave Parks, who's into real estate. Yeah. And he said, hey, it's hard to find homes right now. The demand is so high. Interest rates are low and all that. Does this kind of market right now, where we exist, does it excite you? And I know if you had a crystal ball, you'd say, hey, I could be a billionaire. But are you optimistic moving forward?
I'm cautiously optimistic. See, we're in this weird scenario where the stock market is at all-time highs, right? And then interest rates are at historical lows. And generally, what happens is whenever the market starts to teeter a little bit, which right now there are no signs of it, dropping, but generally when the market starts to teeter a little bit, people are able to take their money out and put it in safer spots and still get a good rate of return in a CD, a bond, something like that. But right now, in this particular environment, cash, CDs, bonds, it's tough to get a good rate of return. And so we could possibly see a scenario, and by the way, bonds or fixed income investments and interest rates have an inverse relationship. So as interest rates go up, the value of your bonds can go down. And right now, interest rates are at historical lows. So we could find ourselves in this precarious situation down the line where if the market starts to go down and interest rates start to go up, you could lose money in the stock market and in any kind of fixed income investment that you have. And so, right now, I think people just need to be cautiously optimistic. Right now, there are no signs of the market slowing down, but there is a lot of risk involved in being in the stock market. And of course, if you have cash, CDs, anything like that, I would definitely always hold on to that because you need those foundational assets in a whole portfolio.
Let me preface this next question with saying if it's unintelligent, you can dismiss me right away.
Okay.
Okay, but we talked about 401ks, and I thought it was interesting, some of your rollover options. Can you take part of it and do a little of it with this? and do a little with that, or do you have to take the whole thing and roll over it into one entity?
You can do the former of take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and
you can.
You can. However, it's probably not the wisest thing to do. Simply because you want to make sure that you have this 401k. It only really would make sense to roll it into one IRA. It wouldn't make sense to roll it into two different IRAs. But I tell you what, once it is in that IRA, and remember, Roth IRAs and IRA. These things are just vehicles, meaning that you can put whatever passengers you want in that vehicle. So the key is to roll over that 401k into that IRA, and then the passenger can be, individual stocks. Another passenger can be mutual funds, CDs, bonds. You can fill up your car with whatever investments you want. So you can still have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it will be in one vehicle, if you will.
Okay, I was online the other day. This is just for fun, off script here, and it was clickbait. It was obvious clickbait. It said, if you have $1,000 in the bank, here's what you should do with it.
Right.
Okay. If for those out there, maybe there's some young folks out there just started a new job and they've got $1,000. That's a nice little, a goal, a threshold.
Yes.
What would you say do with that 1,000?
I would say keep it and save it. It really depends on your risk tolerances.
Don't invest yet.
But, it's like this. You have to have that initial emergency fund where your car breaks down, something happens.
Gotcha.
You have to make sure that you have at least that, at least that $1,000 emergency fund. Now, after you have that established, now what should you do with the next $1,000 that you come across? Then I do say, yes, you should probably look to invest some of that in the market. A good low-cost index fund. You don't need to try to go out there and day trade or find the next hot stock or cryptocurrency. Investing is boring. People love to hit it big because we're in this gambling society, right? But the bottom line is this: investing is boring. Slow and steady wins the race. Remember, the turtle won the race at the end of that.
Remember that.
Yeah, at the end of that. Remember
that may be a topic for another show. That initial $5,000 or so. Okay.
Yeah.
Marcus Warren again. Warren Wealth Management. Give him a call today for a one-on-one consultation. All right, we're going to take a little break, and then Dawn G's coming up, and she's going to tell you what's happening